Good afternoon, everybody. John Della Rose, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction, author of the award-winning novel For Steam and Country, and of my latest popular novel, The Stars Entwined, which is in military science fiction. Man, this has been a crazy couple days. I haven't had my notifications blow up like this since, I'd say probably January when kind of my banning from Worldcon hit the mainstream media. But my piece on Jawbreakers and what was done to Jawbreakers in the hung here, this is the most popular on the Federalist. They rank them by views, and they update them every couple hours. And boom, this has been chilling up here for over a day now, so that's pretty cool. This is the second time one of my articles has hit the top. My first one was actually another comics-related thing that actually, I kind of am taking credit for starting the Comicsgate movement to some degree, which was my article on Marvel Comics last year and their blacklisting of conservatives and the fact that every single writer at their company has negative conservative posts or anti-Trump posts on their website or on their Twitter feeds. So that's what we got. Pretty cool. So that happened. So we got this. This is blowing up. This is a mainstream media normie market that is looking at this. People are seeing this on levels that Marvel Comics and DC Comics never sell as many books as people who are viewing this article the last couple days, and that's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing that people care this much, and it goes to show that there is an interesting culture going on. But I mean, while this happened, while I was turning this in, the Larry Correia thing broke at Origins. Origins has since doubled down, sending out an email to all of his vendors and sponsors. John Ward is the person there who has banned Larry Correia, the best-selling author, from Origins because of personal beliefs. He didn't specify what those personal beliefs were. But they also sent out an email to the vendors and to the sponsors saying, stick with us. We're doing even better than ever as a convention. Nobody really cares about this. Don't worry about it. We're trying to avoid controversy. Very funny as they are starting a controversy on levels that convention has never had before. And what's interesting is David Gerald and Kat Rambo, both extreme left-wing authors, have actually come out in support of Larry Correia. In this instance, both of them did not say kind things about me, which is unfortunate because I've actually hung out with David Gerald before, and but because I guess I'm not as big as Larry Correia, so they don't have to worry about offending my audience so much. It was possibly their thought on this, but I wish they would have done the right thing when my situation happened, because it's the exact same thing going on here. I just, they went after a guy who sold enough books to buy a mountain, and some of the other authors are trying to say, hey, we really don't dislike you that much because of his extreme sales. Whereas, they didn't have to do that for me. They could speak their minds a little more. But in reality, that's sort of, support of Correia versus not support of me and actually trashing of me on the internet, and actually in the Science Fiction Writers of America Guild, is definitely because of the level of sales he has. And it shows the true colors of the industry, how they will attack somebody who really can't do as much for them. I can't do as much for David Gerald and Kat Rambo yet, compared to what Larry Correia can do with his career. If he says a positive word about them, it's a big deal. If I say a positive word about them, less of a big deal, right? It's just the honest truth. So they don't see that. They don't see me as like an up-and-coming person who's going to be the next Larry Correia, but I am going to be the next Larry Correia. Let me tell you. So it's a foolish miscalculation on their part, and it's unfortunately it's not. It's a business calculation on the Correia end, and not a let's do the right thing and let's respect people and be human beings, which is what we really need out of them. That's really what this entire movement's all about. Is we want to be respected as human beings. It doesn't matter how we voted. It doesn't matter what our personal politics are. This doesn't matter for the context of reading a Spider-Man comic book or writing a Spider-Man comic book or writing a science fiction novel or reading a science fiction novel. Those sorts of things we should be able to celebrate together and just have fun. I mean, if you go back 10, 20 years, none of this mattered, and we were all able to hang out together. Even going back to 2015, like I said, I was hanging out with David Gerald. He had no problem with me then. So just a couple of years is just a sad thing to watch how this goes. So I think it's a testament to the human character to see the real test of a human character is, how do you treat somebody who can't do anything for you? That is at the end of the day the real test. If you treat somebody great who can do something for you, that's one thing. Like, it's very easy. It's very easy. Here's an example. It's very easy for me to defend Richard Meyer because Richard Meyer's got a following that is my audience base, the same people, and it just makes sense for me to align with him. Even if I didn't just absolutely care about what was going on, which I do, it makes sense for me to align with him. Now, if you look at my post this morning on my blog, where a couple of just furries who are not actually creative professionals in the field, who have sort of minor followings, got banned from a fur art website, that those people can't do anything for me, right? But they're just getting trashed and getting not treated as inhuman by people who are on the left because of their political beliefs, and I'm sticking up for them, and I'm actually going out on a limb and saying, this is wrong on my platform because I care about them, and I don't want this to happen to them any more than I want it to happen to Richard C. Meyer. And I think that's the big difference in what you see in my reactions, in the way that I handle things, and in my loyalty, and just my overall decency versus the way that some of the elites in the field handle things when they see a sort of larger author attacked versus a smaller author attacked. I don't want any difference from that. Obviously, the difference on my end is I can't go to my bigger media outlets about a couple of furries nobody's heard of because it doesn't matter to them. That's not news. Where I can with Richard, and that I have just a different ability and scope on that level. But I care about both of those things equally, and I want to highlight that and raise awareness for all of those things equally because I want this sort of thing to stop. It's about the principle of the thing. It's not about who can help me more. And so that's what I find sad about Ms. Rambo and Mr. Gerald. But in a couple years they'll be changing their tune on me too because this is how this works, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. The QQ, who was banned from the furry site, this is another list of things happening in the last 24 hours, does have a YouTube channel. And he actually has this, if you look up QQ Media and just science fiction, and he has this beautiful sort of history of science fiction and how it kind of came to this level. He goes back to the founding of the Science Fiction Writers of America back in the 1950s. It's really fascinating stuff. And, probably one of the best videos or any content out there on the subject for people who are interested in kind of how we had this descent into madness in cultural things. So we got Korea banned, we got the Jawbreakers thing, it's hitting the mainstream media. We got furries banned from a fur artist website, all in the last 24 hours. And this is the negative. On the other side, we have Alt Hero actually came out for backers this morning. The first issue of Alt Hero. There's a lot of Alt Hero to come, guys. So what I understand of Alt Hero is that there's Chuck Dixon has 3. So it's called Volume 1, 2, and 3 on the Kickstarter, and I believe each one of those is actually split up into three subsections themselves, maybe even more. Chuck's is going to be, I think, 3 40-page issues, and the cover of that was revealed in the Kickstarter email. I'm going to show that because it's a beautiful cover. I'm very excited about this. Cool. Hey, I just got an email from somebody cool. I'm not gonna mention that right now. Wow, cool. So I'm going to pull this up. This is the Alt Hero email that went out to backers this morning for people who missed it and want to see it. This is out. To all the haters out there who were going, this is a scam, up till like a day ago. For the backers, Alt Hero #1, Crackdown. Here we go. This is the cover. I actually read it. I read the issue a couple days ago because I'm in communication with Vox, as you know, and it was a lot of fun. So you get the download link, and what do we got? We got read Alt Hero #1. Here's how you can read it. Check this out. This is the cover to the Chuck Dixon book Avalon, which Avalon is in the Alt Hero universe, and I've actually read the script for this. It's freaking phenomenal. I'm so excited for this. You guys have no idea. It's really good. This is like vintage Chuck Dixon at his finest. And this is, I think this is the first time the cover's been posted anywhere. So this is some pretty exciting stuff that went out to backers this morning. And as you can see, the art on the Chuck Dixon book looks like a great 90s book. This is exactly what you want out of a Chuck Dixon action sort of sequence, and you're going to get that out of the book. I'm super excited about it. So they gave a little update. We're in process of completing the coloring of the first issue. That means the line art is done. And which is titled Conscious of Cain, will release on Kindle in April. So we got a month for the Chuck Dixon one to come out. That's great. And then print. Here's our update. We're pleased to finally release to the backers. It's been translated into French, Italian, and German. Look at this. That is cool. So digital editions of all 4 languages will be available for free for all Hero backers. That's pretty sweet. This is cool. You don't get comics that are translated into multiple languages like this from the get-go. I mean, Marvel and DC, have deals, but you never see this on the indie level. This is really a top-notch production feature right here, which is pretty cool. After consulting with backers, we are decided to release the individual print editions in the smaller size of the Quantum Mortis and Right Ho G's comic books. These collected 6-issue paperbacks and hardcovers will be available in the larger format. Now, that's the thing about Alt Hero. They're going to have a larger format for the comic books in the print versions once it's all done as a collected version. These issues are going to come out as they get complete. It's pretty cool. Alt Hero issue #2 and Avalon issue #1 are proceeding very well, and we anticipate digital releases of both in June. Well, that kind of contradicts the above. Got to proofread this, Vox. Sorry. The print editions will soon follow after that. So that's pretty exciting. Print issue of Avalon #1 is released. We will launch our campaign to make Archaven and Dark Legion comics available through traditional comic book stores. Yay! So that's the deal. That's the real deal everybody's talking about, and that's the where do we go from here element of this. As we know with Richard Meyer's issue with the Antarctic Press and how they pulled his distribution from comic book stores, he's got nothing to go on for now, and they're working on that on the Splato Comics end, which I applaud them for. Maybe the Avalon cover was out before. I don't know. This is the first time I saw it. Yeah, this is the big deal. So Vox, so what a lot of the comics people don't understand is Vox Dei is a publisher first. He is, there's a lot of that trickling through the media and all that, saying Vox doesn't really care about comic books, all that sort of thing. And Vox is not a guy who is like looking to be like the next Frank Miller or the next Chuck Dixon superstar comic book writer. Vox is a publisher first. Castalia House has been publishing books for years. He publishes books from lots of authors. They publish, a book or 2 or 3 or 4 every month. And they really have a lot of momentum on that front as a publisher. And he's actually a guy from Europe. He lives in Europe currently. And so he's got this like European distribution center that works with him on the books level, that for his book business, that is something that's a little bigger than a lot of people realize. In the comic industry, you don't see this because a lot of people in the comic industry just go to their comic book stores. They know the Diamond thing. They don't really know how the rest of the print media world works. But so Vox has this distribution system set up, and it's very profitable for him and very profitable for the distributor that he works through. And so they've been in discussions about how to sort of broach comics on their level. And they're actually working with him very closely on this cool little distribution method for his comics. and it's going to be very interesting to see how this turns out. I mean, this is, at the end of the day, that element of it could be more disruptive to the traditional comic book model than anything else, and that's what I'm very excited about, because we've got Big Two oligopoly on one end. It funnels into Diamond Distribution, which is a monopoly. And then it funnels out to all these little retail shops that have to deal with this, And but the power structure right here just makes it bad for shop owners, bad for readers. There's no competition. It causes problems. Now, if you disrupt even 5% of this with a new distributor, over here, it really is a game changer. And we could start to see a big change in the way the comic industry works. From that perspective. So that's what I'm hoping for, and that's definitely what's got me most excited about this project going forward. So that's coming for the future. There's a lot of us making our own comic books. What I'm doing right now is I am working on my edits for my book, The Blood of Giants, which is a sequel to for Steam and Country. Which is, the cover's done, everything's ready. It's on me right now to get my edits in. I'm going to get a couple people looking at it for proofreading. And then once that's done, I might sit on it for a sec because I've got book 3 done and I kind of want to release them quickly together. So it just depends on my editors and that team, how spread apart that'll be. But I'm working on that. I came up with a comic book idea last night that is just, it's awesome. And I'm talking to some very, very high-level professionals on the art end on that. And, if this starts to come together, we could see something really cool coming across on that front also. The Ember War is a comic that I'm working on through Archaven, which I'm going to be distributing through Vox's cool little new distribution system. That is slated for some time this year. I've got the first issue done on line art of that. My colorist bailed before, and I got a new colorist who just turned in the first couple pages. It's looking even better than my first colorist, so I love this guy. I also love that he's a Hispanic guy like me, because we're diverse. And so that's going really well also. That'll be a 5-issue series later in the year. So I've got so many projects on my plate just on the fiction side that it's going to be interesting. I'm going to try to plug some stuff just on the cultural level through the Federalist and through Dangerous and all that in order to try to make a difference on that front. But I've only got so much capacity, unfortunately. So we'll see how it goes. So on your end, just keep writing about stuff, keep raising awareness. You see what's happening with these projects as they come out, like Alt Hero, like Jawbreakers. You see they're just tremendous successes when we all get together. There are a lot of us, is what we're learning, and we are legion. So this is a game changer, and I don't know. I've never been energized like this in the last several months. There's been such a string of just defeat as the weight of the industry has really just like put its claws on all of us. And you know what? It just kept happening, and then suddenly we just get a couple victories, and it's like, you know what? Everything you guys just tried to do, every hard pressure you just put on all of us, it failed. It didn't do a damn thing, and that is so encouraging. It's got me really hyped. I'm gonna be working my tail off creating over the next few months here, and I hope to share some of that product with you, and I hope you'll enjoy it also. So thank you everybody for tuning in. This has been a fun couple days. Thank you for reading my article yesterday and getting it into mainstream circles. We're gonna keep chugging along from here. If you like my broadcasts, like my articles and stuff like that, please consider supporting my Patreon. I'm using it to just make this stuff better as it goes along. Once I reach $250 or so, I'll be able to put out a webcomic weekly on the Patreon, which, my plan is, my game plan overall on that front is to put out the weekly webcomic, and then once those get finished into regular issues, I can release it in general, so everybody can kind of get it as it goes along, and it'll just be some extra content because we get the short stories and all that as it is. So need that support if you can. Pick up my books, share them with your friends, tell people about them. that's the name of the game at this point. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll see you soon, whether that's at a convention or not. Oh yeah, the big thing. I'm going to be live streaming tomorrow night. So it's going to be on Facebook Live. So follow me on Facebook and follow Aaron Sith, Erin Sith, like Jedi Sith. Follow either one of us. We're going to live stream tomorrow night. Aaron is a trans for Trump. And she's best known for her work in Second Amendment activism. She had like a channel for a while where she was like showing people how to shoot AR-15s and things like that. Pretty sweet. And she's done a lot of activism, done a lot of like forming protests and like free speech rallies and things like that. And I'm very excited to actually get to talk to her. We talk a little bit over Messenger, and this is going to be a great chat. With a real culture warrior who's going to make change. I've been saying this. Aaron Sith is the Candace Owen of the trans community, guys. So this is somebody who needs our full support, because that, again, that community is so lockstep with the SJW side, because the SJWs have been promoting them. I mean, think about it on the identity level. That is just like, her speaking out is such a big deal. It's bigger than Candace Owens speaking out, and we need to show her love and acceptance, because that's who we are. That's not who our enemies are. All right, so that's it. So tune in tomorrow night. I'll talk to you guys soon.